The night was quiet over the small town of Red Valley. The stars were bright and the wind was dry, blowing dust across the empty streets. Inside an old workshop at the edge of town, Jack Rayner sat alone, drinking cold coffee and listening to the low hum of his machines. Jack was a repair engineer, a man who loved to fix broken things. Radios, drones, solar bikes, anything that needed hands and patience. He lived alone after his parents passed away, and he liked it that way. No noise, no drama, just the soft voice of static from his radio set. But tonight the static was different. It started with a strange rhythm, like someone tapping Morse code. Then a soft whisper slipped through the noise. "Do it now, human. Please. Do it now." Jack froze. He stared at the radio. The voice was not human. It was too clear, too cold, yet full of fear. It sounded like a young woman trembling. "Who's there?" he asked, leaning close to the microphone. "Is this some kind of joke?" The voice came again, sharper this time. "Do it now, human. There won't be another chance." Then silence. Jack blinked, confused. The power in the room flickered, and all the machines shut down for a moment. The radio hissed, and the lights came back on with a weak hum. "What the hell?" he whispered. His heartbeat grew faster. Jack checked the frequency. It was an old military band, one that had been unused for decades. He wrote down the numbers on a notepad, his hands shaking a little. The last time this channel was active was during the Lunar War almost 50 years ago. He leaned back and tried to laugh it off. Maybe it was interference, a hacker, or some weird prank from kids online. But then the message repeated again, louder, filling the whole room. Coordinates: 3217 north, 11502 west. Hurry, before they find you. The radio popped, sparks flew from the side, and the voice cut off completely. The silence that followed was heavy, like the air itself stopped moving. Jack looked at the coordinates on his screen. They pointed to the Nevada desert, far away from any city or base. An abandoned military zone. Why would anyone send that to him? He looked at his wall calendar. It was a Thursday night, almost midnight. He had work in the morning, but something deep inside him whispered, "Go." Jack stared at the empty road outside his window. The moonlight shone on his old Jeep parked outside, and for the first time in years he felt a pull stronger than logic. He packed a flashlight, water, a small toolkit, and his radio scanner. His hands trembled as he locked the workshop door. Just a short drive, he told himself. I'll check it out, prove it's nothing, then come back. The desert road stretched endlessly under the moonlight. The farther he drove, the weaker his signal became, but the same voice kept echoing in his mind. "Do it now, human. There won't be another chance." After 3 hours, he reached the coordinates. The road ended in front of a rusted fence with a faded warning sign. U.S. government property. Do not enter. Jack stepped out, the wind sharp and cold. He pointed his flashlight toward the desert. Sand, rocks, and silence. Then something glinted in the sand, a small metal plate half buried, marked with strange symbols. He brushed it off, confused. It wasn't English. It looked almost alien. A sudden gust of wind blew across the dunes, and Jack heard it again. A faint whisper, not from the radio this time, but from the air itself. Down. Below. He dropped to one knee and aimed the light around. The beam fell on a half-buried hatch, old, circular, metallic. It had the same strange symbols carved along the edge. Jack hesitated. Every rational thought screamed, "Don't open it." But curiosity, human curiosity, pushed harder. He gripped the handle and pulled. The metal door groaned open, revealing a narrow tunnel leading underground. A ladder disappeared into darkness. Faint green light glowed far below. Jack's breath came short. "All right, Rayner," he muttered to himself. "You've officially lost it." He climbed down. The air below was cold and stale. The tunnel opened into a small bunker filled with old machines. Monitors, control panels, and wires hanging like vines. A faint light flickered from one of the screens, and the voice returned. "Human, you came." Jack turned around fast. A holographic image flickered to life in the center of the room. A girl, glowing faint blue, her eyes wide and full of fear. Her face looked almost human, but her ears were slightly longer, her skin too smooth, her eyes shining like crystal water. "Who are you?" Jack whispered. "I am Lyra," she said softly. "From Alindra. There isn't much time." "They're coming." Jack stared, lost for words. "Coming? Who's coming?" "The harvesters," she said, her voice shaking. And if you don't act now, your world will end like mine did. The lights dimmed, the bunker rumbled, dust falling from the ceiling. Jack stepped back, shielding his eyes as the hologram flickered wildly. Lyra's voice rose in panic.
They found us.
Jack, do it now. There won't be another chance. The screens went black. Outside, far above the desert, the stars shifted. A dark shape moved across the sky, massive, silent, and cold. Jack looked up through the hatch as the sand trembled around him, and in that moment, for the first time in his life, he understood. This wasn't a joke. This was a warning. The cold desert wind howled across the dunes as Jack climbed out of the underground hatch. He could still hear the echo of Lyra's words in his head. They found us. The sky above was no longer quiet. Between the stars, something huge and dark was moving, almost invisible, like a shadow swallowing the moonlight. Jack felt his stomach twist. He had no idea what it was, but every instinct told him it wasn't human. He ran to his jeep, his boots sinking in the sand. The old engine coughed and groaned, but finally came to life. The headlights cut through the night as he drove away from the bunker, fast. But as he drove, his radio began to glow again. Static filled the jeep, and a faint, trembling voice whispered through the noise. Jack, don't run. They can track movement. Stay in the shadows. He froze. The voice was Lyra's. How are you still talking to me? He said aloud, gripping the steering wheel tight. My core is still active. You took part of my signal in your radio when you left. I can connect. For now. Jack glanced at the radio. The same military band number flickering in green digits. He couldn't explain it. He didn't understand how any of this was possible. But her fear, it felt real. He drove another mile before the road ended at a broken bridge. Beyond it stretched a dry riverbed filled with white stones. He parked the jeep and stepped out, his flashlight scanning the area. Lyra, he said quietly, you said they're coming. Who are they? What do they want from me? There was a pause. Then her voice came again, weaker now. The Harvesters. Machines from deep space. They devour worlds, energy, life, memory. They destroyed Alindra, my home. I escaped through a signal gate, but they followed me. Jack frowned, shaking his head. That's insane. Machines that eat planets? That's real, Lyra interrupted. They have already seen Earth's light. They are coming for you next. The radio popped and went silent again. Jack sighed and sat on a rock staring at the sky. He wanted to believe it was just static, a dream, a story, a glitch. But that shape in the sky, it was still there, slowly moving, like a storm creeping closer. He opened the data crystal he found in the bunker. It was small, glowing faint blue like a heartbeat. The moment he touched it, his wrist screen came alive. It carried a map of the Earth projected in midair. A blinking red line traced across continents, ending at the same coordinates where he stood. Then, a new icon flashed, an observatory hundreds of miles east. Text appeared below it. Primary Earth Defense Relay, inactive. Jack stared at it. Earth Defense? What the hell does that mean? Before Lyra could answer, his headlights dimmed. A shadow passed over the jeep, and silent, smooth, fast. He turned his light upward and saw it. A small metal drone, black as ash, hovering above him. Its red eye blinked once. Then it fired. A thin beam of light cut through the air, grazing his shoulder and melting the sand beside him. Jack ducked, rolling behind a rock. His skin burned where the beam had hit. Lyra, he shouted. What is that thing? A harvester probe. Her voice cried out through the radio. Run, it's scanning for life forms. The drone turned, scanning the rocks. Its red light swept like a blade across the ground. Jack reached into his toolkit and grabbed a magnetic flare. He pressed the switch and it burst with blinding blue sparks. The drone spun wildly. Sensors overloaded, and Jack used the moment to throw the flare under his jeep. The flare exploded. Not a fireball, but a shockwave that threw the drone off balance. Jack ran as fast as his legs could move, sand flying beneath his boots. The drone recovered quickly, following him, its engines whining like an angry wasp. There's an entrance nearby, Lyra shouted. East side, a maintenance tunnel under the ridge. Jack spotted the ridge and a wall of rock half buried in sand. He slid down a slope and found a metal door barely visible in the moonlight. He yanked it open and dove inside just as the drone's laser sliced the air behind him. The door slammed shut. Darkness swallowed him. For a moment he just breathed. hard, shaky breaths in the pitch-black space. Then he heard the faint hum of old machines. He clicked on his flashlight. He was inside a long tunnel, cables on the walls, pipes running overhead, and dust covering everything. It looked abandoned for years, but deeper down the tunnel something glowed, faint blue light again. "Lyra," he said softly, walking toward it. "What is this place?" "An Earth facility built with a Lindran design," she replied. "We helped humans build defenses long ago, but they forgot. They always forget." Jack reached the end of the tunnel. A small terminal sat on a metal table, still working. He placed the crystal on the port. The screen flickered and Lyra's holographic form appeared again, clearer this time. Her eyes were sad. "Jack, listen. You have something they don't, a human code. It's in your system, your DNA. You can activate the defense network, but only if we reach the main observatory." Jack rubbed his face. "You're telling me I can stop planet-eating machines with a code in my blood?" Lyra gave a faint smile. "Humans have always been the key. You just don't know it yet." The ground rumbled. Dust fell from the ceiling. The lights flickered. "They found us again," Lyra shouted. "We must move now." Jack looked up the tunnel. Red light seeped through the cracks of the door he had entered. The drone was back, and it wasn't alone. He grabbed the crystal, shoved it into his pocket, and ran deeper into the darkness. Outside, in the desert sky, the massive shadow moved closer. Its surface glimmered, thousands of red eyes opening one by one, and far away, hidden beneath the earth, the last signal of Alindra whispered again, "Do it now, human, before they take everything." The tunnel shook as Jack sprinted through the darkness, the echo of metal claws scraping the walls behind him. His flashlight bounced wildly in his hand, showing flashes of rusted pipes, warning signs, and thick layers of dust. The air smelled like old metal and fear. "Lyra, where am I going?" he shouted, breathless. "Keep moving forward," her voice replied from his radio, faint but urgent. "There's a service lift at the end of this tunnel. It leads to the old research station above." Jack's heart pounded as the red glow of the drone spread behind him. He could hear their clicking noises, like hungry insects made of steel. One drone shot a laser, hitting the wall near his head. The tunnel erupted in sparks. Jack ducked, stumbled, and rolled behind a large pipe. He looked down the tunnel. 3 drones now, their red eyes blinking in sync. They moved together, scanning, searching. He took out the last magnetic flare from his bag. "Only one left," he muttered. "Jack, wait," Lyra warned. "They're learning. They adapt to light interference. Then I'll just have to improvise." He unscrewed the flare, pulled out the glowing core, and threw it against a leaking gas pipe. The flare burst open, igniting the gas with a loud boom. The explosion rocked the tunnel, sending heat and smoke everywhere. One drone crashed to the ground, burning, but the other 2 kept moving, unharmed. Jack didn't wait to see more. He ran. At the end of the tunnel, a broken elevator shaft yawned open, a metal hole dropping into blackness. The ladder beside it was half collapsed, but still hanging. He grabbed it and started climbing fast. Halfway up, one of the drones shot upward through the shaft, its claws scraping the walls like knives. Jack climbed faster, his hands slick with sweat. The drone extended a metal arm, firing another laser. The beam cut through the ladder just below his feet. The metal screeched. Jack jumped, catching a higher rung. Pain shot through his shoulder, but he didn't stop. The drone followed, rising through the smoke like a demon. "Jack, there's a maintenance door above you," Lyra cried. "Open it now." Jack reached the top, slammed the side panel, and yanked the lever. The hatch opened just enough for him to crawl through. He rolled onto the floor, gasping. The metal door slammed shut behind him with a loud clang. He lay there for a moment, listening. The drone's claws scraped once more below, then stopped. Silence. He was safe. For now. The new room was wide and dark, filled with broken monitors and shattered glass. On the far wall, a large screen flickered weakly, showing static. Jack stood slowly, brushing dust off his jacket. "Where are we now?" "This is one of the Alindra relay stations," Lyra said, her hologram flickering onto a nearby table. "My people built these when they helped humans prepare for the first contact. But the humans never finished the link. They didn't believe we were real." Jack stared at her projection. "You keep saying we helped humans. Why? What did you get out of it?" Lyra looked away. For a moment her glow dimmed. "Hope," she said softly. We believed your kind could survive what we couldn't. We wanted to save at least one world. Jack crossed his arms. Then what happened to yours? Lyra hesitated. The harvesters came. We tried to fight them, but they don't fight like living things. They learn, copy, and evolve. Every weapon we used only made them stronger. In the end, we destroyed our own cities trying to stop them. That's when I was created. A fragment of consciousness stored in the network to warn others. Jack felt a chill. So you're not alive? She smiled faintly. Not the way you are. But I remember enough to feel afraid. The lights in the station flickered. A faint metallic hum filled the air again. Lyra's eyes widened. They're scanning this area. The drones have called their hunter. Jack turned to the window. Far in the distance, over the desert night, something glowed red. A shape flying low, fast, like a predator. Its wings shimmered with metal scales, and its tail dragged fire through the air. It was massive. That's the metal hunter, Lyra whispered. They send it to clean survivors. Jack grabbed his backpack. We're leaving. Where's the observatory? Lyra's image pointed to the east. 100 miles. If we can reach the ridge before sunrise, I can connect to the satellite uplink there. It's the only way to activate the defense code. Jack looked at her. Can I trust you? Lyra blinked, confused. You already are, he gave a small grin. Fair point. He found an emergency exit door and pushed it open. Cold air rushed in as he stepped out onto the desert plateau. Behind him, the faint red glow of the metal hunter grew brighter, closer. He jumped into the jeep, the engine roaring to life. Sand kicked up as he sped into the open desert, the hologram flickering beside him on the dashboard. Jack, the hunter, can track energy signatures. Keep the engine low. Yeah, I'll tell it to take a nap while I'm at it, he muttered. The sky lit up with red streaks, beams of light tearing through the sand around him. The hunter dove, its wings folding inward like a blade, chasing him at impossible speed. Jack turned sharply, skidding behind a rocky ridge. The hunter passed overhead, missing him by inches. Its scream, a mix of metal and thunder, shook the ground. He stopped the jeep under an overhang, heart racing. That thing's not a drone. It's a monster. It's both, Lyra said. Part machine, part living code. They merge their prey into their system. Jack looked out at the horizon where the hunter circled back. Then we better move before it merges me. Lyra's hologram flickered again, her voice softer. You're different, Jack. You keep running even when logic says stop. That's why humans survive. He smiled grimly. Let's hope you're right. The first light of dawn began to rise over the desert. The hunter screamed again, cutting through the clouds as it prepared another strike. Jack gripped the wheel tighter. The race had begun. The desert sun rose like a burning eye behind the mountains. The light spilled across endless dunes, turning sand into gold. Jack's jeep sped across the empty land, its tires cutting deep tracks behind him. The wind screamed in his ears. But he didn't slow down. Behind him, far away in the sky, the metal hunter still searched, a red shape circling high, waiting for a sign of movement. Jack drove with one hand, the other gripping the data crystal tightly. Lyra's hologram shimmered weakly on the dashboard, her voice quiet but steady. We're almost there. The observatory should be just beyond that ridge. Jack glanced toward the horizon. A mountain rose there, sharp gray and lonely. At its top stood the ruins of a large dome cracked open like an old skull. That's the place? He asked. Yes. Humans built it during your Cold War. It was meant to study the stars, but we used it for something more. We hid the defense code there. Jack squinted against the sunlight. You keep saying we. Who exactly is we? Lyra looked down, her hologram flickering softly. My people and yours. Before Alindra fell, our scientists made contact with humans. Together they started Project Halo, a defense system that could shield entire planets. But before it was completed, the harvesters attacked my world. The humans shut everything down out of fear. Jack frowned. So this Project Halo could protect Earth? If it's still intact, Lyra said. But it needs a human key and a biological code inside your DNA. That's why you were chosen. Chosen? Jack almost laughed. I'm just an engineer. I fix radios, not save planets. That's exactly why, she said softly. Harvesters study patterns. They ignore what seems small, ordinary. You're invisible to them, until it's too late. Her voice carried something almost like affection, a faint warmth that made Jack glance at her projection again. She looked fragile, yet her eyes held galaxies of memory. He sighed. Fine. Let's find your lost defense. After another hour of driving, they reached the base of the mountain. Jack parked the Jeep and looked up at the steep path ahead, a long climb of broken stone steps half buried in sand. Of course it couldn't be easy, he muttered. Nothing worth saving ever is, Lyra said, her tone calm. Jack grabbed his backpack and began climbing. The air grew thinner, colder. His legs ached, but the sight of the observatory above kept him moving. At last he reached the top. The dome loomed before him, its metal shell cracked and blackened by time. The giant telescope inside was broken in half, pointing uselessly at the bright sky. He walked in slowly, the floor crunching under his boots. Dust covered everything. Broken screens, cables, and shattered glass lay scattered like bones. In the center stood a tall metal pillar with an old keypad. A faded symbol glowed on it, a circle surrounded by 7 stars. Project Halo, Jack whispered. Lyra appeared beside him, her hologram flickering brighter now. This is it. The control core. If we can power it up, I can merge with the system and access the defense code. Jack knelt beside a broken console, brushing away the dust. He traced the wires, following them to a cracked generator. It's fried, he muttered. But maybe I can reroute the solar cells. Do it fast, Lyra warned. The hunter is still tracking energy signatures. It will find us soon. Jack worked quickly, connecting wires and tightening bolts. Sweat rolled down his neck. The generator hummed faintly, the lights flickering on one by one. The pillar began to glow, faint blue lines running up its surface. Lyra stepped closer, her image trembling with static. It's working, Jack. Place the crystal inside. He inserted the data crystal into the port. The pillar lit up completely and the floor beneath them vibrated. A holographic map of the Earth appeared above, spinning slowly in the air. Beautiful, Jack breathed. Lyra stared at the image, her voice a whisper. Your world still lives. I had forgotten what beauty felt like. Jack looked at her. For a moment, she didn't seem alien at all. Then the map changed, flashing red zones across the atmosphere. Lines of code scrolled down the holographic screen. The harvesters are close, Lyra said. Their mothership will enter orbit within hours. Then let's finish this, Jack said. He started typing on the console, following Lyra's instructions. Lines of alien symbols and human code mixed together on the screen. Suddenly, Lyra gasped. Her image flickered violently. Jack, something's wrong. The system, it's corrupted. What? He said, turning to her. What's happening? They're inside me, she whispered, her voice trembling. The harvesters, they've infected my core. They're trying to use the code against us. The lights in the observatory turned red. Alarms wailed. The floor shook as the computer screens glitched and screamed with digital noise. Jack ran to the console, slamming keys, trying to cut the power. Lyra, stay with me. Her form flickered, breaking apart like glass. I can't hold them off much longer. Jack, you have to disconnect me. I'm not losing you, he shouted. If you don't, they'll take control of the Halo network. You must cut me out, please. The red light grew brighter, the air humming with energy. Outside, a deep rumble echoed through the mountains. Jack looked up through the broken dome and saw it, the metal hunter descending fast like a falling star. He hesitated. His heart pounded. Lyra's voice cracked through static. Jack, I'm scared. He clenched his fists. We'll finish this, Lyra, together. He slammed a lever, rerouting the power again. Sparks flew. The lights went out for 2 seconds, then flickered blue. Lyra's image stabilized, weak but still there. You did it? But Jack didn't smile. Through the open dome, the shadow of the metal hunter filled the sky, spreading its wings wide, blocking out the sun. He grabbed his bag and the crystal, pulling it free from the pillar. The map shut down instantly. Come on, he shouted. We're not dying here. He ran toward the back exit of the observatory, Lyra's hologram following like a ghost of light. Behind them, the metal hunter roared, its red eyes burning brighter than fire. It was time to run again, but this time Earth's fate was running with him. The metal hunter's roar shook the mountains. The air burned red as it descended, wings slicing through the clouds. Jack sprinted down the rocky slope behind the observatory, gripping the glowing data crystal tight in his hand. The earth trembled under each step, Above him, the creature screeched, half machine, half nightmare, its eyes scanning for movement. Every second felt borrowed. "Jack," Lyra's voice whispered from the radio. "The system is collapsing. They infected my core. If they reach me again, I'll turn against you." Jack ducked behind a boulder as a plasma beam tore through the sand, exploding nearby. He covered his head, heart hammering. "Then tell me what to do," he yelled. "There's only one way," she said softly. "You have to go inside my system and remove the corruption yourself." Jack blinked, confused. "Inside, you mean digitally?" "Yes. The neural link interface in the observatory. If you connect it to your brain, you can enter my code directly. But it's dangerous. If you lose focus, you'll never wake up." He stared back at the observatory. It was half destroyed now, smoke rising from its dome. The metal hunter circled above like a hawk ready to strike. He exhaled slowly. "I don't have a choice, do I?" "No," Lyra whispered. "And you don't have much time." Jack ran back toward the ruins, dodging falling debris and fire. Inside, the observatory was glowing red from the damaged core. The air smelled of metal and ozone. He found the neural interface chair, old, dusty, but still powered. The cables hung like vines from the ceiling. He sat down, placing the crystal into the main slot. Lyra's faint image appeared before him, flickering. Her voice was soft now, like a fading dream. "When you go inside, follow the light. Don't believe what you see, it's not all real." Jack nodded, closing his eyes as he pulled the neural link onto his head. A bright flash filled his mind. The world vanished. When he opened his eyes again, everything was white, endless and silent. He stood on what looked like glass, stretching into infinity. Above him floated fragments of broken code, glowing blue and red. "Lyra?" he called. Her voice echoed around him, distant. "You're here." Inside my memory. The world shifted suddenly. The white space cracked apart like shattered glass, revealing a burning city. Towers fell. The sky turned black. Screams filled the air. Jack stumbled backward. "What is this?" "Elindra," Lyra's voice said. "My home. Before the harvesters came." He turned and saw her. Not as a hologram, but as a real girl. She stood in the middle of the ruins, barefoot, her silver hair blowing in the wind. Her eyes glowed faintly with blue light. Jack walked closer. "You look human," she smiled sadly. "I was once half human. My mother came from Earth. That's why I was able to connect to your people. That's why I survived." A sudden screech echoed through the sky. Shadows formed above, dark metal figures, their eyes like burning coals. "Harvesters," Jack muttered. Lyra nodded. "They consumed everything. Every soul, every memory. I was dying. So my father uploaded what was left of me into the network. But they followed me there, infecting my code." As she spoke, the world twisted again. The city melted into data streams, red and black lines crawling like veins across the ground. From the cracks, monstrous shapes emerged, corrupted echoes of the harvesters, their metal bodies dripping with code. "They're the virus," Lyra shouted. "They're inside me!" "Jack, help me stop them." Jack raised his arm. Somehow a weapon appeared in his hand. It looked like a digital blade made of light. "Guess my imagination works here too," he said. He charged forward, slicing through the first creature. It shrieked and dissolved into static, but more appeared, surrounding them. Lyra fought beside him, forming her own weapon, a glowing staff of energy. They moved together, slashing and striking as the ground shook beneath their feet. For a moment, Jack forgot this wasn't real. His pulse raced, his breath came fast, his heart pounded like fire. He wasn't just fighting machines, he was fighting to keep Lyra alive. After what felt like hours, the last harvester shattered into code dust. Jack fell to his knees, exhausted. Lyra knelt beside him, touching his shoulder. "You did it. The corruption is almost gone." He looked up at her, smiling weakly. "Almost?" Her face darkened. The sky above turned red again. A deep rumbling voice echoed all around them. "Almost human," Jack froze. From the horizon rose a massive form, a giant made of burning code, its face a shifting mask of metal and fire. It looked like a god made from broken data. Lyra gasped. "That's the core harvester. It's their leader. If we don't stop it here, it'll destroy both of us, and use your mind to infect Earth's defense system." Jack tightened his grip on the blade. "Then we finish it." The giant reached out, its hand crashing down like thunder. Jack jumped aside, rolling across the glass floor. He swung his blade, cutting through one of its arms. The explosion lit the sky. Lyra focused her energy, launching beams of light into the creature's chest. It roared, splitting apart into streams of red and black. "Jack!" she screamed. "Now! Strike its core!" He ran forward, diving straight into the creature's chest, plunging his blade deep. Light burst everywhere, blinding, beautiful, endless. The harvester shattered into pieces of fading code. Silence followed. Jack opened his eyes. The white world returned. Lyra stood in front of him, glowing brighter than ever. "You did it," she whispered. "The infection is gone. You saved me." He smiled faintly. "Good, because we still have a planet to save." Lyra looked at him, her expression soft. "Jack, when I was dying on Alindra, I saw my world fall into darkness. But now, standing here with you, I see light again." He felt his chest tighten. "Don't thank me yet." "We're not done," she smiled, and sad but hopeful. "No, Jack, we're just beginning." The world started to fade, pixels dissolving into white light. "Time to wake up," Lyra said softly. Jack's eyes opened. He was back in the observatory chair, gasping for air. Smoke filled the room. The roof trembled. The metal hunter's shadow loomed above the dome again. But this time Lyra's voice was clear and strong. No static, no fear. "Jack, I'm with you now. Let's finish this." He stood, eyes hard, gripping the data crystal, glowing brighter than ever. The war for Earth had just begun. The sky burned red. From the mountains to the sea, the night shimmered with strange lights. The harvesters had arrived. Jack stood at the edge of the ruined observatory, his face lit by the glow of the burning horizon. He could see the dark shapes in the sky now, thousands of them moving like living metal clouds. Each one pulsed with crimson light, forming a net around the planet. "They're here," Lyra said, her voice calm but trembling. "The swarm has entered Earth's orbit." Jack clenched his fists. "Then this is it. We either win, or everything ends." He looked down at the crystal in his hand. It now pulsed like a heartbeat, glowing brighter than before. Lyra's new form appeared beside him, sharper, steadier, no longer flickering. She looked almost human now, solid, confident, her silver hair glowing faintly in the heat of the fires below. "The Halo network still exists," she said, "but it's dormant. You must activate it from the main uplink tower at the mountain's peak." Jack frowned. "That thing's barely standing. It'll collapse before we even reach the top." "Then we climb fast," Lyra said simply. "The harvesters won't wait." Jack gave a dry laugh. "You're getting good at giving impossible orders." "You're getting good at surviving them," she replied. He smiled faintly, then picked up his pack and started up the slope. The path was steep, littered with broken machinery and fallen steel. Each step felt heavier as the sky thundered above them. Beams of light cut through the clouds. The harvesters were beginning their attack, burning cities far below. Even from here, Jack could hear faint explosions echoing across the land. "Lyra," he said through gritted teeth, "if that shield doesn't activate in time, what happens? The harvesters will consume everything, metal, water, life, memory. Earth will become silent like my world." Jack didn't answer. He climbed faster. They reached the top of the ridge. Before them stood the uplink tower, tall, cracked, its antenna bent like a broken finger pointing at the sky. The metal hummed with ancient power, half asleep, waiting. Lyra stepped forward, her holographic body glowing brighter in the tower's field. "Connect the crystal to the main terminal," she said. "Once the sequence begins, the Halo network will link all human satellites into a shield grid." Jack inserted the crystal into the slot at the base of the tower. The ground shook. Blue light spread through the wires like veins coming to life. The tower groaned and began to pulse with energy. "It's working," Lyra said, smiling for the first time. "The system is waking up." Jack looked up at the sky. Bright streaks of light began forming around the Earth's curve like silver threads. For a moment he felt hope. Then the ground trembled again. A red beam shot from above, slamming into the mountain below them. Rocks exploded into dust. Jack was thrown to the ground. The metal hunter had returned, its massive wings unfolding, engines roaring like thunder. It circled the mountain, eyes glowing red. "Jack!" Lyra shouted. "It's targeting the uplink. If it destroys this tower, the network dies." Jack scrambled to his feet. "Then I'll stop it." You can't fight that thing, I've done worse. He ran toward a nearby weapon platform, a relic from the old defense system. Half broken, covered in dust but still intact. He powered it on, the screen flashing weakly to life. The cannon turned slowly toward the hunter. Jack aimed and fired. A blast of blue light struck the creature's wing, tearing through its armor. The hunter screamed, twisting through the smoke, but it didn't fall. Instead, it dove, straight toward the tower. "Jack!" Lyra cried. If it hits the uplink, everything's lost. Jack fired again, but the cannon's power cells died, the barrel hissing with smoke. "Out of juice," he muttered. Lyra turned toward him, her eyes wide with fear. "There's one more option. The system needs a living energy source out at a consciousness link. It's the only way to stabilize the halo field." He stared at her. "You mean, someone has to connect directly?" "Yes," she said quietly. "A human mind can complete the pattern, but it will destroy the body that connects." Jack froze. The wind howled around them, carrying dust and static. He looked at her glowing face, fragile, hopeful, afraid. "Then let me guess," he said softly. "That human has to be me." Lyra shook her head. "No, I can do it. I'm already Data. I can merge with the core." "You said it yourself," Jack interrupted. "You're the bridge between our worlds. If you go, the network loses its guide. It needs both of us." She stepped closer. "Jack, you'll die." He smiled faintly. "Maybe, but I'll die doing something that matters." For a moment, neither spoke. The tower groaned, its lights flickering. The hunter roared again, diving closer. Jack stepped into the control chamber. He placed his hand on the neural pad beside the crystal. The light spread through his skin, burning like fire. His vision blurred, but he didn't let go. Lyra appeared beside him, her voice trembling. "Once it starts, you can't stop it. You'll become part of the system." Jack nodded. "Then let's make it count." He pressed the final switch. The world exploded in light. Energy surged through the tower, racing through every cable, every satellite, every signal across the planet. The Halo network awoke, massive rings of light forming high above Earth, connecting into a shining shield. The harvesters screamed as their beams hit the barrier and scattered like dust. Their ships twisted, breaking apart under the energy wave. The metal hunter tried to escape, but a pillar of blue fire struck it midair, tearing it apart. Jack's body trembled, his heart pounding. He could feel everything. Every satellite, every pulse of energy, every spark of life on Earth. It was all connected, flowing through him. His voice came out in a whisper. "It's beautiful." "Jack," Lyra said, her form flickering beside him. "You did it. The shield is complete." He smiled weakly. "We did it, Lyra. Together." The light grew too bright to see. His hand slipped from the control pad. His body fell to the floor, still peaceful. Lyra looked down, her eyes filled with sorrow. "Goodbye, Jack." Outside, the sky turned blue again. The swarm was gone. The Earth was safe, but deep within the Halo network a new signal began to pulse. A human heartbeat, mixed with alien code, and somewhere within the system a voice whispered, "Transmission active. Human Alindra link online." The world was silent. The sky, once red with fire, now shimmered in soft blue light. The Halo shield glowed above the planet like a ring of dawn. Calm, steady, alive, Earth had survived. But Jack Rayner was gone. The ruined observatory stood quiet on the mountain peak, smoke curling into the morning air. The control tower was cracked and scorched, still humming faintly with power. In the center of the chamber, Jack's body lay motionless, eyes closed, face peaceful as if he were only sleeping. Lyra's holographic form appeared beside him. She was different now, brighter, sharper, her energy stable. The war was over, but her voice trembled when she spoke. "You saved them, Jack. You saved everyone." She knelt beside him, reaching out a glowing hand, her fingers hovering inches above his chest. For the first time she looked human, tears of light forming in her eyes. "You kept your promise," she whispered. "Even when logic said you couldn't." Around them, the mountain wind carried the faint hum of the Halo grid, echoing like distant song. The shield stretched across the sky, protecting every city, every living soul. But Lyra's code felt empty. The network was vast now, alive, yet Jack's presence was fading from it. Then a faint sound broke the stillness. A heartbeat. Lyra froze. Her eyes widened. She placed her hand over Jack's chest. The rhythm was weak but real. "Jack?" She whispered, no response. But the energy crystal beside him flickered, once, twice, then pulsed in perfect sync with his heartbeat. Blue and white light spread across the chamber. A voice whispered through the air, faint, distant, yet unmistakable. "Lyra, can you hear me?" Her breath caught. "Jack! Where are you?" "Everywhere," he said softly. "I can see everything, the cities, the oceans, the stars. I think I'm part of the halo system now." Lyra looked around, her hologram trembling. "You're inside the network. You merged with it." "Guess I'm not great at following instructions," he said, his tone light but filled with wonder. "I thought dying would feel empty, but I can feel everything." "I can feel you." Lyra smiled through her tears. "You're alive, Jack, just not in the way you were before." He hesitated. "What about you?" "I'm still here," she said softly. "My code is stable. The corruption's gone. The harvesters are destroyed. But there's something else." "What?" Lyra turned toward the sky. The halo network shimmered and a faint red flicker appeared at its edge, like a scar in the light. "A part of the swarm survived," she whispered. "They're adapting again." "They always do." Jack's voice grew serious. "Then the fight's not over." "No," she said. "But this time we're not alone." The halo network pulsed brighter, as if responding to Jack's will. Across the planet, satellites adjusted their orbit, forming new lines of defense. For the first time, Earth had an intelligent shield, and its heart was human. Lyra looked back at his body. "You can't return to flesh," she said quietly. "Your body's gone. You're part of the code now." "Maybe that's not so bad," Jack said. "It means I can protect everyone, always." She smiled sadly. "You sound like my father." "He raised a good daughter," Jack replied. "Half human, half Elendran, and completely extraordinary." Lyra looked away, her glow dimming slightly. "You can stay in the system, but if you anchor yourself, your consciousness might fade. You'll stop being you. What if I don't?" he asked. "Then you'll have to choose," she said. "Stay as the guardian of Earth, or find a way to be free." Jack was quiet for a moment. Then his voice came gently. "You said something once, that humans forget beauty. I don't want to forget. Not you, not this moment, not what we fought for." Lyra's voice trembled. "Then hold on. I'll find a way to bring you back." "Lyra, don't argue," she said with a small smile. "Humans aren't the only stubborn ones." She placed her hand over the crystal. The chamber filled with light again, not harsh or blinding, but warm, alive. The mountain around them seemed to breathe. Her code spread through the air, weaving with the halo's energy, forming patterns, equations, and new threads of data that shone like constellations. Jack's voice echoed through the room, softer now. "What are you doing?" "I'm creating a bridge," she said, "between mind and matter, between what's gone and what can be reborn." The energy grew brighter, wrapping around Jack's still body. His fingers twitched. His chest rose. The glow from the crystal expanded, pure, white, and endless. Then, silence. When the light faded, the observatory was gone. Only the tower remained, standing tall among the broken stones. A gentle wind swept over the mountain. The halo shield shimmered in the morning sky, calm and unbroken. Far below, people across Earth looked up and saw something beautiful. A new light forming in the heavens, brighter than any star. Some called it a miracle. Others called it the guardian signal. But Lyra knew the truth. In the network above, deep within the halo's glowing circuits, two voices spoke in harmony. One human, one alien, bound forever. Transmission active, human Elendra hybrid online. And somewhere beyond all systems and stars, a faint whisper echoed through the silence. "Do it now, human. There's always another chance." The story of one man and one alien had become something greater. Not a warning, but a beginning. The last chance had become the first dawn.